Hello world, Cossy here with what is this week going to be part 1 of your Geek movie news. There's been so much this week that I'm going to have to put it in 2 parts, guys, so this is obviously going to be part 1. Starting off with, as you can see behind me, the world's finest. Now for those of you who don't know, that is Batman and Superman. Now Warner Brothers apparently are considering developing a world's finest movie. Now they've had some success in the DVD market with 2 world's finest animated movies, and now they are considering making this into a live action movie. From what I've read online, the sort of starting point would be a well-established Batman helping to mentor the sort of fresh-faced new Superman, and the 2 of them becoming a team to take on a threat that is bigger than both of them. So very much in the vein of the world finest comics, if you've read them in the past, or the animated movies that are fantastic and you haven't seen them, you know, I recommend them highly. Now, whether this happens or not, you know, is all down to the juggling of the sort of DC properties that Warner Brothers is doing at the moment. But I think this might be a great testing point for a team-up movie. Maybe if this does well, we'll finally get that Justice League movie we've been waiting for so long. Especially with Marvel obviously going ahead with things like the Avengers. You know, this should be a kick up the backside of Warner Brothers to say, you know, get on to more continuity. World's finest is a good start, and then we want a Justice League movie. If this movie happens though, gotta see Christian Bale as Batman. For me now, it's hard to imagine anyone else in the role. He's been fantastic so far. I'm sure he will be again in the next Batman movie. So yeah, let's hope Nolan's involved now with the DC Universe movies. Let's hope if this happens, he'll be involved again. He can persuade Bale to come back one more time. Next up, another DC movie that could happen, and that is Wonder Woman. Now, I know I've talked about a little bit in the past the unsuccessful TV pilot that was made, and there was a lot of controversy around it, and yeah, it's not going to get made into a series. But the director of Drive, Nicholas Winding Refn, he has come out and said that it is his dream to make a Wonder Woman movie. Now, he is currently involved with remaking Logan's Run, a movie that I really don't want to see a remake of. I'm a big fan of the original movie, not so much the TV series, but the original movie still stands up well today. Great concept, great movie. Why do we need a remake? But yeah, Warner Bros. Have told him if he does well with this remake of Logan's Run, then he's good to go with an actual Wonder Woman movie. So let's hope that the Logan's Run movie is good, that it makes money, and we finally get a big screen Wonder Woman movie. It could happen. It could happen pretty soon. Okay, next up, a comic book that maybe some of you haven't heard of before, and that's Danger Girl. Now, reports online are stating that the J. Scott Campbell comic book Danger Girl, which is about an all-female team of spies, is being shopped around the studios now. It's looking for someone to pick it up by producer J.C. Spink. Apparently there's no screenplay, there's no director attached or anything, but there's already 3 actresses that have been mentioned in the prominent roles, and that is Mila Jovovich, Kate Beckinsale and Sofia Vergara. So they're the 3 actresses that have already been linked to these roles for a film that doesn't have a studio, a producer or a screenplay yet. So how true they are, I'm not sure. If Mila Jovovich is involved, hopefully that doesn't include taking her husband, Paul W.S. Anderson, because I'm not a huge fan of him, but who knows. We'll just have to wait and see. This obviously is being shopped around studio to studio, see who wants to pick it up. It's a great concept, an all-female sort of James Bond, Indiana Jones style movie, and you know, the comic book's good. Pick it up if you haven't. Go and have a look at the trades, because it's yeah, it's a good comic book series. Next up, a Disney film that looks like it's been shelved for the time being, or possibly completely cancelled, and that is The Lone Ranger. Now, for those of you who don't know, The Lone Ranger was a very popular TV series in the past and comic book. The rights to it have been picked up by Disney. The names notably involved with it is Johnny Depp, Jerry Bruckheimer and Gore Verbinski. Now, those names obviously are the three names behind the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. But the problem is that they looked at the budget. These three already tied in, said, okay, this is going to cost $275 million. And Disney basically just balked at it and said, no, it's too much. We want you to cut this by, you know, 75 million if possible. Otherwise, it's not going to get made. So they're going back to the drawing board. Apparently, the projection is that they might get it down to 215 million, whether Disney accept that or not, I'm not sure. And that will include both Bruckheimer and Verbinski taking a $10 million pay cut to get this movie made. I know Johnny Depp is a massive fan of The Lone Ranger. He's hooked in to play Tonto in this adaptation, and he wants this to be made. So if he wants it to be made and he can pull some strings, maybe it will. I think it's a great concept. It's something that a lot of the younger sort of Disney audience may not know anything about. It'd be a great way to get them interested in what was in the past a very popular franchise, which is The Lone Ranger. And you know, you've got the guys involved that were involved with the Pirates movies, the 4 Pirates movies that have made how much money now, Disney? And you're scared of this, but you are definitely making a John Carter of Mars movie, even though you're not sure whether that will make any money. It seems strange, but hey, that's probably why I don't work for Disney. Next up is a film that maybe a lot of you haven't heard of, and if not, I'm just going to introduce it to you. And it's a film that's coming out this year called The Immortals. Now, The Immortals, there's a new trailer online. It's available for you to look at. Go and look in the drop-down menu box. There is a link in there. You can link out to it and go and watch this new trailer. It looks fantastic from the trailer I've seen. Just to give you some sort of idea of what it's about. Basically, it stars Henry Cavill, who is going to be the new Superman in the new Superman film, as Theseus, the son of Poseidon, and the King of Athens. Now, he's taken on his nemesis, who's King Hyperion. He's going to be played by Mickey Rourke. Now, you know, Mickey Rourke's had a real big comeback in the last decade. I think this is going to be a great part for him. So, you know, he does play villains quite well as sort of anti-heroes, shall we say. So, yeah, great to see him again cast in a high-profile villains role. And it hits cinema in November. Now, there's not a definite date for the UK yet, but it will be November. So there's a trailer out. Go and have a look at it. Immortals. Looks good. Next up, a little bit of news about The Crow Begins, the new Crow movie. It's going to sort of be a prequel, apparently, to the original. Basically, I mentioned a while back that Bradley Cooper had been linked with this movie and was close to signing on to play the lead role. He won't be doing that now. Apparently there's going to be someone else. He's got some scheduling issues. He's already signed on to make a film with David O. Russell, and that has meant that they're going to have to recast this main part in the next Crow movie. Now, the names that have been bandied about online are Mark Wahlberg and Channing Tatum to take over the role. So just have to wait and see. I'm not sure about Wahlberg as the Crow, but I can certainly see Tatum doing well with it. But who knows? Just have to wait and see, guys, who's gonna be the new Crow. And finally, for part 1 of this week's Geek Movie News, we've got a little bit more news about G.I. Joe 2 Retaliation. And it is more casting news. Now, first off, I mentioned, I think it was last week, that there was a certain action hero, Bruce Willis, who was in talks to be in the film. Well, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is already signed on for this movie, announced on Twitter that Bruce Willis has signed on and he is definitely going to be taking up a role in G.I. Joe 2, so that's good to see. There's also some more news this week, and that is that Walter Goggins has joined the cast as Warden Nigel James. Now, if the name Walter Goggins sounds familiar but you can't quite place it, he's most famously known for his role as Detective Shane Vendrell in the TV series The Shield. So, yeah, more good casting. I'm really looking forward to this movie now. I liked the first one. I didn't think it was perfect, but I thought, you know, it was good. It was, you know, a good setup, especially for a sequel. And this sequel reboot, I'm excited about now. They seem to have a good cast coming together, and hopefully we'll get a good screenplay and director to go with it. So yeah, this is part 1, all over and done with. Once it's finished and it's uploaded, part 2 will be somewhere up here, and there's that link. Go and click out, have a look at part 2 of this week's Geek Movie News. My Super 8 review will be about here. If you haven't seen that already, click out, go back and watch that. And also, last week's Geek Movie News will be just there for you to click out and catch up on anything you've missed. So, yeah, remember, like this, like buttons down there, favourite, subscribe, post it on Twitter, Facebook, send it to your friends. If you're not a fan of me on Facebook, down in that drop-down box there's going to be a link out to my Facebook fan page. Go and become a fan, find out all your new Geek Movie News and when new videos are coming before anyone else. It's the best way to do it. Okay guys, until the next part, au revoir.